What's up, YouTubers? It's that time of the year. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. You know, I'm just going to go ahead and recap 2012 for you. You know, what happened to me in 2012. You know, at the end of 2011, I got arrested for trespassing. You know, when I was out looking for some copper to steal. I was in upstate New York and I was a little strapped for cash and looking around and bam, there was a cop right there and I got arrested. You know, and told the judge I would be back and he OR'd me, and I never showed up for court, and eventually I got picked up for a warrant with a beer in my hand. You know, and that's right at the end of 2011. So last year I spent Christmas and New Year's in the jail cell. And when I got to court, you know, the judge says, if you plead guilty on this, we'll release you today. I said, okay, Your Honor, I'll plead guilty. And I said, but when am I going to get out today? And the judge goes, yes, you're going to get out today. All you got to do is plead guilty. You know, and this was like about December 31st. No, it was just before, about December 28th. And I told him I plead guilty, and he goes, well, were you on such and such property? I go, no, I was just off the property. And he goes, well, were you intending to cross onto this property? Or he asked me these questions. I said no, and he goes, well, guess what? Guilty plea is not acceptable. Come back in 2 weeks. So I had to spend another 2 weeks in jail. Then, while I was in jail, they added that the next time I went back to the court, if I plead guilty, what they'll do is they'll mandate me to rehab. Now, I'm into the middle of 2012 here. You know, so I got out and I said I would show up for rehab, and of course I never did. I ran to New York City, I was drinking, I stayed at the Bellevue homeless shelter, and it was snowing, it was crazy, it was crowded, and you can just imagine the Bellevue homeless shelter in New York City. So I hopped back on the train, and to get back up to Poughkeepsie, I borrowed some money from a guy at the train station. He gave me like $20 to get back up to Poughkeepsie, to Dutchess County, and I ended up checking into rehab. And I checked into rehab, and actually I checked into a detox, and told them I was mandated, I needed to do treatment, and they shipped me down to Phelps into Westchester. You know, and this was a crazy year. My dad was really sick then, and I used to take care of him, but he had to go to another place while he was getting sick. So I'm in rehab, I'm down in Westchester, and they're like, well, now where do you want to go? I said, I don't really care where I go. So they shipped me up to mid-state New York called Oneida, up by Madison County, and I stayed in a 3-quarter house up there for like, I would say 3 months. You know, and while I was up in this 3-quarter house up there, or halfway house in Oneida, my father passed away. You know, and I was in the middle of this rehab, and I was in the middle of this halfway house, and they had me doing all this crazy stuff. You know, I was going to meetings every day, and, you know, and a girl, she was like part of the staff there, and she was a real bitch, so she searched my room and found cigarettes. But what happened was when my father passed away, I had a $2,800 life insurance policy coming. You know, my father passed away, and that was devastating in 2012. You know, that's something I'll never forget. I'd never lost a parent before, you know, and it just rocked my world. And but I did ended up getting the $2,800, and I didn't tell the halfway house that I got it, and I got thrown out. And for the cigarettes, she's like, well, I want you to do this and that and this other thing. They made all these possible things on me. So I said, you know what? I'm not doing it. She goes, well, then you got to go. And she goes, where are you going to go? I'm not sure. She goes, well, you don't have any money. Where are you going to go? I said, I'm going to Vegas. And she just looked at me like I was crazy. I got a ride. I took my money, I put it all on Walmart, little credit cards, and I came to Las Vegas. That was another big move in 2012 for me. You know, and once I got to Las Vegas, I just stayed on my sister's couch, and you know, hung out there for a while. I had a few bucks on me, you know, and I had a good train ride across the country, and, you know, it was phenomenal. I didn't have a job when I got to Vegas, and I ended up moving out of my sister's house to another house where the guy was like a shop steward in the Union. So this is about in October. You know, I moved into this house, and luckily he's a shop steward in the Union, like I said, working for the Teamsters. So I got out on a job making $29 an hour, and then after 8 hours I got $44 overtime. So he's been getting me out on these jobs here and there where I've been making enough money to get by and to pay my bills, and you know. And another great thing that happened to me in 2012 was I hooked up with my mother. I hadn't talked to my mother for like a couple of years, and I called her, and you know, it's a long story, and it had to do with my drinking, and she didn't want to talk to me anymore, and I made an amends, and I repaired that relationship, you know, and you know, for Christmas this year, God bless her heart, she bought me some new teeth, you know, and that was great, you know. And so my 2012 had a lot of ups and downs in it, you know, with my father passing away, you know, building my relationship back up with my mother. So overall, I believe 2012 was a good year for me, you know, except for my father passing away. The other thing is my life on YouTube the last year has been crazy. I've seen, you know, my channel, the Heartattackdon, got closed down, you know, but that was no big deal. I just opened this other one, the Heartattackdons, and I just added an S on the name, and, you know, and I love YouTube. And I love to go around and make crazy comments, and if somebody says something crazy to me, I'll say something crazy back to them. If somebody's nice to me, I'll be back nice to them, you know, and YouTube is just great. I've seen a lot of people benefit from YouTube, and one of them was this girl. I've been watching her a long time, with Ali Potofsky, and she's a singer, and she started, you know, her channel, and I started watching her channel when she had around 1 million views, and now she has like 30 million views. You know, I got a lot of good friends out there. Mark Ripley, I would consider to be a good friend. You know, I've known him. He lives in the UK. We've been chatting back and forth for years, and you know, and there's a lot of you that are out there that, you know, I just love YouTube and everything about it, you know. So I just want to wish everybody out there on YouTube Happy New Year and a Merry Christmas. And it's the Heartattackdon. Peace out. And that was my recap of 2012. See ya.